It's a Dak cast. It's a Dak cast. It's a Dak cast. DACCCAST. Cause I said it's a Dak cast. It's a Dak cast. It's a Dak cast. Dak cast. DACCCAST. DACCCAST.
You're listening to Dakcast, produced by students of Danville Area Community College.
Hey, welcome back to Dakcast. I'm Erin Anderson.
And I'm Landon Frazier. Our mission with Dakcast is to create a platform that's created by students and made for students. We want everyone here on campus to become more familiar with the faces you see every day here at DAC.
With that being said, we are so excited to bring you today's episode.
We are here today with biology professor Stephanie Loveless. We are so excited to have you on the show and to give people the opportunity to learn more about you today.
Thank you for having me here.
Could you give us a little bit of the rundown about just kind of what you do here at DAC?
Well, I teach a lot of biology, which I'm sure is a surprise. No, I teach a lot of animal-based biology, animals and society. I'm doing human biology this spring semester for the first time, environmental science, the basic biologies for majors and non-majors classes, yeah.
What does a normal day look like for you here on campus?
Yeah, normal days. The fall semesters are a little bit low key. I have pretty much straight bio all day. My Thursdays are long because I have lab Thursday nights until like 8 o'clock at night. So I'm here all day long. Running through labs meetings sometimes. I've gotten involved in the assessment process recently, so that's taken up a lot of my free time. I taught a success in college this semester for the first time ever, and that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. Lots of grading, lots of answering emails. Yeah, that's pretty much a normal day.
Do you teach a lot of online classes, or are most of your classes in person?
They're all face-to-face, except for one section of my environmental science class. It's fully online. Yeah, and then I have the web hybrid, where the lectures are online and the students come in for lab.
Did you have any other jobs before accepting the position here at DAC?
I taught at grad school, like after college. I did all kinds of things before college. I didn't go straight to college from high school. It took several years, actually, for me to kind of make a decision about what I wanted to do. So I've worked in factories, I've waited tables, I sold carpet for a long time.
That's very random.
Yeah, it was. But I learned a lot about floors, so it's come in handy. And then once I started college, I worked just through the school, work-study stuff in tutoring centers and things like that. And then I was a teaching assistant all through grad school and taught multiple different classes.
So teaching wasn't what you always wanted to do?
No. From the time like I was little, my mom had said I would be a teacher. And so I resisted that with like all the power I could do. And then when I started college, finally started, I was elementary ed until I started doing class observations. And then I realized that was not a good fit for me. And I was kind of up in the air, and I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I had decided I wanted to teach. I thought about high school for a while, and then eventually settled on teaching at a college.
How did you wind up at the college that you did? It says here that you went to the University of Southern Indiana, Evansville.
I did. That was my undergraduate, and mostly I wound up there because I got married young, and that's where he lived. And so I went to the college that was available to me. It was a really good school. It's like a mid-sized college. And then I ended up, went to grad school at Clemson University. And mostly, like, that was a lot of, I applied to a lot of different grad schools. And, you know, they bring you out and you go on these tours and you meet with all the faculty, and I loved the people at Clemson and the area. I mean, how can you beat South Carolina?
Oh, yeah.
It was a gorgeous campus, and the weather was significantly better than it is here. So, yeah, that ended up being where I went for grad school, and I loved it. Like, I didn't necessarily want to leave. But, I miss being home. I miss being in this area. So
You went to Clemson in person, so it wasn't online?
No,
grad
it was
school?
fully, I mean, it was way before, I don't even think web hybrid classes were a thing at that point.
So you didn't always want to, did you always want to know you would end back? Okay. Did you always know you wanted to end up back here, or
No,
did you?
I mean, I didn't. So the whole thing, I was actually looking for jobs in South Carolina in that area. And my husband at the time, my ex now, his dad got sick, and he had melanoma, and it was bad. And so we wanted to get back into the area so we could be closer to his family and help out with whatever we could. So we were looking at places. He's from Southern Indiana, so we were looking at places down there, and we looked at places up here, and I got offered a couple of jobs, but I took this one because I wanted to be close to my parents. I grew up in Clinton, Indiana, and so it's like 45 minutes from here. So I like having that locale, like being that close to them, but also that far from them.
So we hear there's a funny story that you had to do to get your master's degree. You want to talk a little bit about that?
So my degree from Clemson is in the inheritance of courtship display behaviors and how that links to speciation. And the groups that we used, I used fish, and so I had to watch fish have sex. We recorded them, and then I had to score all of their behaviors, and because we bred a bunch of hybrids and then mapped the genetics associated with that. But I spent hours and hours and hours watching videos of fish mating. It was, yeah. I had my son in grad school, and that summer after he was born in April, and I spent just hours in the lab with him in his little carrier while I was watching the fish doing all this stuff,
Wow.
and he was just there. It's just it was an interesting experience.
Okay, so we understand that you recently went on a 30-mile hike along the Ohio River.
I did.
You want to talk about that?
It was really interesting. I'd never done anything like that. We backpacked, slept in hammocks in the night. It was a lot of fun. But the coolest thing, which is also the creepiest thing, we were out on the trail, and I wasn't leading. I did not want to lead because we started walking at it was 8 o'clock at night, so it was dark. And we had headlamps on, and Sean is who I was with, and he asked me if I wanted to lead, and I was like, no, you lead, I'll follow you, that's fine. So he is walking, and he keeps looking around, and he keeps kicking rocks and throwing pieces of leaves, and I'm just like, what are you doing? He's like, you don't see that. I'm like, I see you throwing things around, I don't see anything else. He's like, it's like there's glass all over the floor, there's snow or something. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, come up here. So he puts me in front, and so I start looking around, and there's little pieces of silver glitter all over. I mean, as far as the light touches, there's just this glitter. And so I come up and I see one, and I get closer to it and closer to it and closer to it. And then a spider runs away. So what I realized is that those were spider eyes, because they have a set of eyes that just reflect light, and that's what they look
Wow.
like. I'd never seen it in person before,
Yeah.
so I didn't know that's what it was. But it was absolutely terrifying, because there were thousands of those eyes just everywhere, and you just don't realize how many of them are around you when you're walking through the forest like that.
I would have
Wow.
just turned around.
It was
That gave me
we
chills.
Were,
Like,
we were
oh,
putting the
spiders.
hammocks up, and Sean said, "Do you want your bug net?" I'm like, after what we just saw, I'm like, I want to walk in the bug net. I mean, that was wow.
You guys, okay, so you guys backpacked all the way through. So you guys made your own food and stuff? Or did you bring some?
We brought these meal bar things, and then had quinoa things that we would just kind of warm up. We did overnight oats, and that's what we had for breakfast. So we would soak those the night before. But yeah, we put everything in backpacks. I mean, my backpack that I had was, I think it was 35 pounds. And so we're walking.
Wow.
I mean, it was a lot. And I just have never hiked like that before. It was really cool. We stopped and did he had these water purification things. So we would filter stream water and put it into containers. And I was like, that made me a little nervous because I'm like, I don't see how it gets everything out of the water. But he drank it all. He didn't get sick once. So I guess they do a good job. Yeah.
Would you do something like that again? Did you enjoy it that much?
I loved it. It was incredible. I think after doing that, not that it's in any way comparison, but I think I would like to do that the Appalachian Trail at some point. I think that would be a really cool thing to do. Now it would be nice to do the one on the West Coast. I don't remember what that one's called, but that one's a lot longer and significantly more rugged from my understanding. I'm not sure I'd be up for that one.
What made you want to do that?
I have always loved hiking. It's something I've always wanted to do. And Sean is really into that. He's done multiple things like that. And so I did one last year over Thanksgiving, but it was in November, so it was cold, and I made us stay in a B&B at night. And then we'd go hike in the morning. We'd hike all day and then go back to the B&B. And I liked that a lot. But this one I enjoyed as well. And the weather was nice, so it wasn't too hot and it wasn't too cold. I do think if I do it again, I will do it again. I prefer to do it in the fall. We didn't get to see a lot because the trees were so green, like everything was greened out. We barely got glimpses of the river as we were walking through it because the forest was so dense in that area. So I think the fall would be better just because you'd see more.
How many days was it?
Started Friday night, walked for several hours, all day Saturday, and then part of the day on Sunday. So it's probably about 48 hours, out there consistently. So
That's awesome.
it was fun.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about what you like to do in your free time? We know you like playing tennis and you love Star Wars.
Yeah, big, giant Star Wars nerd. I don't do it as much anymore. I used to organize a group that played this one Star Wars game on Discord, and I was like the leader of the group. And I had to organize raids, and it was so strange. And I still look back at that and I'm like, I can't believe I did that, but I did. I don't really do a lot of that anymore. I have kind of taken back to reading. I'm trying to de-electronic things a little bit more. I walk a lot, hike a lot, do stuff with my kids. I play tennis a lot. And that's, I think, the bulk of things right now. I'm trying to think if there's anything else fun and interesting that I do, and I can't come up with anything. So.
It's hard to think of it on the spot, too.
It is.
So tell us a little bit about your family, and you were talking about your kids earlier. So, how old are they, and what are their names and everything?
I have 2 kids. My son, Xander, is 15, so he is a sophomore at DHS. My daughter, Raina, is 11. She'll be 12 in January. And she is in 6th grade at Southview. And my son fences. My daughter has played softball, but she is thinking maybe she wants to get into tennis now. So I think we'll be trying that out here soon. And then what else? Oh, Xander games. He joined the e-gaming group at the high school and will probably be up here doing that at some point. So he likes doing that a lot. What else do they do? My daughter draws, so she does a lot of animation stuff. So specifically that genre of drawing. So she does everything electronically. She has a YouTube channel where she makes little videos from her drawings and
That's cool.
posts them. So
Very cool.
she loves doing that stuff.
Well, that's cool that they want to play tennis and game and stuff because you could help them with that.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So we know you grew up in Indiana. What was your favorite part about where you grew up?
Oh, I don't know. I grew up it's a small town, which I think is good and bad. It's nice because there's a sense of security associated with that, but then it's bad because everybody knows everything about everybody, even if they don't know anything about you. So it's a little kind of closed off, I think, in that regard. And but I liked the people I grew up with. You know, I had a good experience. Obviously my family I think they're pretty awesome. And Clinton was a good place, and I loved the high school. We had some awesome teachers and a lot of experiences, but you miss out on certain things. Part of the reason that when I moved here that I chose Danville specifically was because of the opportunities at the high school. There's just so many options that the kids have access to there. And I never did when I was in school. And it's a neat ability to be able to take advantage of those kinds of things when they're available to you.
Yeah. What attracted you to Dak? So you said that the high school really attracted you to like the Danville area, but what made you choose to be a teacher here at Dak?
Well, part of it was there aren't, like I said, we were trying to get closer to family. And there aren't a lot of like community colleges in Indiana. They don't have, like outside of Ivy Tech, there isn't really anything there. And when I saw the job opening here, I applied for it. And I started looking into the school, and I like the options that are here. I like the variety of classes. There aren't a lot of community colleges. Like if I were to have gone to Ivy Tech or something, I wouldn't have the variety of biology classes that I do. I feel like a lot of the junior colleges, a lot of the community colleges, some of them tend to be more kind of technical based and not as much. I don't want to say that it's not academic because it is academic regardless, but a lot of them tend to be more technical focused. Whereas here, I think we have such a wide berth. You know, there's areas that are focused on the technical side of things, areas that are focused more on the kind of like continuing education. You know, the fact that we have a transfer program, I love the connection that DAC has to the community. We do a lot of events which we haven't done family science night in a few years because of COVID, but that type of thing where we bring, the people for the community in, and just interact with them and show them, the college and, everything that we have to offer here. We do Eagle Day. That's an event that I've organized in the past that, again, we bring the grade schools in to see the flight displays. I really appreciate that. And, the bottom line is I love the people I work with. Like, I can't imagine a better group of people. It feels like a family to be here as opposed to and that, makes coming to work every day so much easier when you genuinely enjoy being around the people that you're with. Yeah.
That's what most people have said that we've brought on here. There's it's the relationships that keep them here.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that. Like I couldn't imagine having this anywhere else. So,
did you have a person in your life who played a role in what you do today?
Yeah. When I was in undergrad, my advisor was a huge kind of role model for me. I actually model how I teach after how he taught. I just thought he was one of the best teachers I've ever had. And, I did undergraduate research with him, and, he helped me map everything out and figure out exactly what I needed. My PI, the primary investigator in the lab that I worked in at Clemson, said that I had one of the best rounded transcripts she's ever seen come through there. That there were no areas where I had deficiencies, and that's, I'm sure, because of him. I mean, he told me what I should do and what to take. He helped me apply everything. So he was a huge driving force for me kind of getting through everything.
That's great. What are some of the long and short-term goals that you have for your field here?
Oh, well, I would like to grow the biology majors transfer program. I teach the Biology 102. That's one of the primary courses I teach. But a few years ago, I added a class called the 103, which is the second half of that. So the 102 focuses on like the cell properties, the biological chemistry, cells themselves. So it's more the molecular side. The 103 is more the organismal side. Like we do evolution. We talk about, we walk through the different domains of life, talk about the characteristics and features that tie them together. And we do ecology at the end, and those are like some of my favorite subjects to do. That's probably my favorite class that I get to teach. It doesn't go all the time because the enrollment in it is kind of low.
Is it Animals in Society?
No, that's 104. This is Biology 103.
Okay.
So it's I love 104.
Because I was in your class for that.
Yeah. That class is so much fun. And it's similar to that, but Animals in Society focuses solely on the animal side of things, which is where my heart is. Because my degree is in zoology. So, but the 103 brings in a little more in depth. Like we go a lot more into evolution than what we did in 104. And we go through the plant world. We look at microbes. We look at protists, fungus. So like the entire world around us in terms of the life there. So it's a big class. It's a lot, but it's a lot of fun. And the labs are, so like in 104, we looked at the already dissected specimens. In 103, they do the dissecting themselves. So that's kind of the primary difference. Is it's like, I guess 104 is kind of an animal variation of that. It's generally targeted for people who aren't going to be a science major.
Yeah.
But 103 is built like a true majors biology course. I mean, it's a lot, but it's a lot of fun. The labs are really interesting, but I'm like redoing all of that right now. So
yeah, I think you started that with our class. You started redoing them because I remember we had like no paperwork and you had to type it up before every class.
Yes.
But we did lots of microscope work in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of that because there's so much of those things are investigatory, and it's just like looking at the slides that show the concepts that we're talking about. Yeah.
How do you go about getting students involved and interested in an education?
I just try to talk to them. I try to be personable, engage with them, be willing to answer questions, and I'm trying to. I want to pull in more of the like service learning type stuff that Dr. Brown does with some of her classes, because I think that's a really good way to not only engage students just in science, but to just encourage, like foster that growth and recognize that there are things that we can do just on a day-to-day basis that make a big difference. So.
Okay, now again. Okay, so now
it's time for Dak Attack.
It's this game where it's like this or that. You answer as fast as you can. We're going to ask you a couple questions. We tried to make some like things that you're interested in, but we might have just been like off the rails and you don't care about any of them. But
Okay.
Do you want to do the first one or do you want me to?
So, I don't care. Okay, so I'll do it.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, so Yoda or Baby Yoda?
Yoda.
Oceans or mountains?
Oh, that's hard. Probably mountains, actually. Yeah.
Turtle or frog?
Turtle.
Cardinal or blue jay?
Cardinal.
Facebook or Twitter?
Facebook.
Cake or pie?
Neither.
Swimming or tanning?
Tanning.
Jogging or hiking?
Hiking.
Passenger or driver?
Passenger.
Amusement park or day at the beach?
Day at the beach.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you sitting down with us today.
And thank you guys for listening. This is Erin Anderson.
And Landon Frazier for DACcast. Stay classy, Jaguars.